And really, this is just a matter of a countdown before this turns into a grand indictment against anybody who is against fracking, against anybody who is against who wants to impact global climate change. I imagine they will somehow implicate the Clean Water Act. They will say that we should be polluting rivers more, all because of this one case. It is a bizarre
surprised
case.
they haven't already.
No,
I feel like they're
actually,
slow on the uptake.
The story says that there is already 2 investigations, congressional investigations on this, which is, typical. You're talking about someone who defrauded the agency of $1 million. That's obviously been, he's been arrested, and it appears, I think, convicted at this point, or he pled guilty. So the hearings are probably costing more than this one fraud case, would be my guess. But it's interesting to sort of compare and contrast to sort of every other incredible fraud that has taken place over the past couple of years. But that being the case, apparently the EPA's highest paid employee, who received approximately $200,000 a year, defrauded the EPA of nearly $1 million in salary and other benefits over a decade. How did he do this? Well, he basically got paid for work that he did not do. And even more specifically, this guy whose name was Beale, John C. Beale, an NYU grad with a master's from Princeton, like I say, was earning a salary and bonuses of $206,000 a year. He was the highest paid official at the EPA. He bilked the government on $900,000 by not showing up for work for literally at least 2 years. But that's not the amazing thing. He went for an 18-month stretch in 2011 where he did absolutely no work. He got plane trips, first-class plane trips, first-class accommodation at hotels at various spots across the country by telling EPA officials that when he was taking these trips or when he was gone for up to 18 months, he was doing intelligence work for the CIA.
Can we get an applause, please?
Either at CIA headquarters in Langley or in Pakistan. At one point, he claimed to be urgently needed in Pakistan because the Taliban was torturing his CIA replacement there. He sent an email.
His wife calls him up. She's like, I found an amazing ski deal for like 6 months.
Don't worry. I'm going to email.
Don't worry. I'll say that my supervisor is being tortured by the Taliban. I got it.
He emailed, I guess, his boss, McCarthy, who I guess is now the... he said, due to recent events that you've probably read about, I'm in Pakistan, he wrote in an email. In December 18th of 2010, he did not return for 18 months. Got the call on Thursday and left Friday. Hoped to be back for Christmas. Ho, ho, ho. And then he didn't show up for another 18 months. It turns out that the assistant inspector general for investigations at the EPA, a guy named Patrick Sullivan, found out that not only did he have no relationship with the CIA at all, he confirmed that Beale didn't even have a security clearance. And he spent much of the time he was purportedly working for the CIA at his Northern Virginia home riding bikes, doing housework, and reading books. or at a vacation house on Cape Cod. He's never even been to Langley, said Sullivan. The CIA has no record of him ever walking through the door. In 2008, Beale didn't show up at the EPA for 6 months, telling his boss that he was part of a special multi-agency election year project relating to candidate security. And he billed the government almost $60,000 for 5 trips to California, purportedly to provide candidate security that were purely for, quote, personal reasons. This is his lawyer acknowledging this. He also claimed at one point to be suffering from malaria that he got while serving in Vietnam. According to his lawyer's filing, he didn't have malaria and he never served in Vietnam. When he was first questioned by his alleged CIA undercover work by the EPA, Beale just brushed him aside by saying, well, of course, he couldn't reveal it. And then later, after he sort of copped to this whole thing, he told his friends at the EPA and his colleagues at the EPA that he actually was, in fact, working for the CIA, but he was going to take one for the team. And that he was going to go to jail to protect his fellow CIA workers.
What we're doing in Afghanistan is too important.
This is too big. Apparently, he was caught when this inspector general was like, hey, this is weird. Everybody went to his retirement party a year and a half ago on a yacht, and the guy's still drawing a salary. So, I mean, the lawyer is saying, obviously, that, look, the guy obviously was driven by greed, but he has also come to realize, with the help of his therapist, this is according to his attorney, that his theft and deception were animated by a highly self-destructive and dysfunctional need to engage in excessively reckless, risky behavior. And he was driven to manipulate those around him with the fabrication of grandiose narratives that are fueled by his insecurities. So it is obviously a sad case for a guy who has some genuine mental, emotional, psychological issues. But it's also sort of an amazing way to get off from coming into work.
I was gonna say I don't know about all that stuff about his issues, but when I read this, I was pissed because you guys give me all this flack for how effective I am in getting vacation days, and I just stood in awe of the master.